What's up everybody, Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles, back at you another week, another video. Today is going to be an exciting video because not only are we going to be announcing the winner of the giveaway last week, we're going to be announcing a new winner, or we're going to be doing a new giveaway, and the topic is awesome. In my opinion, it's the best topic I've had so far to date, and that is the 6 beginner reptile buying mistakes. So stay tuned. Before we dive into the 6 beginner reptile buying mistakes, and these mistakes can apply to pretty much anybody across the board, even advanced keepers, because I see advanced keepers making these same mistakes, I want to announce the winner from the giveaway of the Freedom Breeder Rat giveaway one. It was a t-shirt, which is right here, Jason's Exotic Reptiles t-shirt, and also a temp gun. The winner is going to be getting both of these. I have a snake going into the rack behind me. Before we dive right into that and talk about the winner, I guess I'll introduce this girl. She is one of my older girls. She's a T-positive, Berkline T-positive, one of my favorite snakes I have, if not my favorite. Every time I look at her, I say that might be my favorite snake, so she possibly is. She's been with me for about a little bit over 12 years. Or I guess, I'm sorry, a little bit over 10 years, and she is one of the few snakes I'll even let close to my face. Her temperament is awesome. So, the winner from last week was Emely V in Phoenix, Arizona, and I want to stress that I need you to reach out to me. I will not reach out to you. My email address is in the video description below, and my wife will also put it on the screen here. It's Jason's Exotic Reptiles at yahoo.com. I'm going to ask that you send me a picture of your license so I can confirm it's you. But Emely V in Phoenix, Arizona, the comment was, show us the gang and how you picked out your crew. When did you decide to get some extra hands? Did you wait until it was affordable, or was it tough coming to the fact that you could use some help? Really cool in-depth video for folks who don't know much about racks. Thanks. I thought that was a great video because it was a big decision, or I should say I thought that was a great comment for a video topic. It was a big decision for me to decide I was going to use some help, and I'm going to actually make a whole video on that. I have the whole crew coming over tomorrow, and I might pull them into it. They don't know that yet. Maybe I'll give them a heads up, maybe I won't. But Emily, I appreciate you for all these giveaways, even the one in today's video. Beware, there's all kinds of comments and people asking you to send information. I will not ask for your information. You need to reach out to me, and that's where we will exchange information. Do not fall for it. They're trying to scam people. I will pay for shipping. I'll pay for everything. So don't fall into that trap. So, without further ado on that, the video topic, and I'll kind of give you the details on what I'm going to give away for the next giveaway and how to kind of win it. It's going to be the same thing, first name, last initial, city and state where you're from. But let's get into the video and we'll talk about that at the end. So the 6 beginner reptile buying mistakes. I have them written down next to me if you see me looking over here, because I didn't want to forget them. I put some thought into this one. The first one, and these are in no specific order except for the very last one, which I think is kind of like the golden rule. But the first one is unrealistic expectations or purpose of care and differences. So what I'm saying in that is sometimes people will buy certain snakes in specific morphs or specific locales thinking they're going to be that much different. So for instance, this snake here, this is a Central American boa. There's some slight differences between a Central American and a BCC, but in reality they're all boas. Now when you're going from like a Burmese python to a retic, or a ball python to a reticulated python, or a ball python to a boa, there's differences there. But a lot of people I see will tell me, what's the difference between a Peruvian boa versus a Suriname? Well, really nothing. They're kind of the same snake. Care is pretty much the same. Yeah, there's slight differences, but nothing that's noticeable. I keep tons of different species of snake, and I keep them all exactly the same. I breed them all exactly the same. There really isn't that much difference. So there are certain one-offs, rainbow boas, things like that they do require higher humidity. But again, that's almost getting into a different species of boa. So that comment is more like from morph to morph, or from locale to locale within the same species. They're for the most part exactly the same. So that's kind of number one, unrealistic expectations of purpose or care or differences between snakes within the same species. Next one, thinking that you'll get rich if you spend more. So this is a really good way that the more you spend, the more they drop in value in reality. So some people will think, well, if I spend $5,000 on a snake, I'm going to make more money in return. We've had all kinds of videos on this, and I've kind of explained the economics of it. It's not really that simple. It's not this linear project, and at the same time, it's, you know, the way they depreciate is much harder. So if you spend, let's say, a new keeper coming into the hobby, I never recommend they reach for something that is, you know, $5,000 or $10,000 animal. If you have the money and you want to do it, go for it. But if you're trying to really get your name into the business, there's certainly pros and cons of that. The chances are that you're going to be experimenting and losing time, and your depreciation is going to depreciate on that animal that you'll never get your investment back, or you're going to have to sell the whole litter of animals to get your investment back, versus on a, you know, kind of return on investment perspective, if you bought a less expensive animal, still beautiful, but maybe it's not the newest and greatest and latest morph out there, you're going to be able to learn with that animal. You're going to be able to learn how to breed, learn how to sell, and then once you have that understood and you really feel confident that you know how to breed and sell, that's when you go buy the expensive animal. Because until then, you're up against a clock. And somebody like myself or other large breeders that already know what they're doing and have that animal, we're going to blow you out of the water. And unless you get lucky, or unless you just really kind of understand the whole hobby, I would always recommend and shy away from spending a huge amount of money on singular animals in the hopes that you will become rich with buying that. It's a process, and it cannot be rushed. You need to learn what you're doing if you want to be successful in this. And if you want to learn on expensive animals because you have money, go for it. But don't think that it's going to be a straight, you know, linear plot and you're going to get your return back. The more you spend, the more you get back. It doesn't necessarily work that way. It does when you know what you're doing. Okay, so number 3. Focusing on the present morph and not the potential. So what I mean by this is people are all caught up sometimes on they want the latest and greatest, or they want the end goal morph, or they want just a morph. So I'm trying to phrase this because it kind of goes with the number 2, which was, you know, kind of spending and going for that $5,000 snake. So you can still make that $5,000 snake. So a lot of people will dismiss certain animals. Let's say a hypo that is het blood and sharp albino, and or hypo jungle het blood and sharp albino. That might be, you know, a $5,000 to $1,000 animal. I don't know the price range right now, or what it's going to be when you look at this. $500 to $1,000 animal. They would kind of turn their nose up to that as, oh, I don't need that. I want to get the sharp albino blood hypo jungle, whatever the heck it is, you know, whatever they call the combo. I can't even keep up with it, but they're trying to focus on getting that animal, and they dismiss anything but that. And in the meantime, they're just kind of waiting and never pulling the trigger, never making a move, because they're kind of too good for the base morphs, too good for the bread and butter. You know, dismissing an albino because it's an albino and has nothing else, and it's, you know, it's already $300, and they want to make the $3,000 animal. Well, let me tell you, that's the total opposite of what you should be doing, because your $3,000 animals are eventually, probably by the time you breed them, depending on what you're going for, are going to be $300. So chasing morphs and kind of being too good for your base morphs, I think is something I see a lot with, specifically with newer keepers, and it does dabble into some of the more advanced keepers, but you'll see that most of the long-term people who've been around for a while understand the potential. For instance, this girl here, she's beautiful, but she's only, as a baby, at $250 animal. $300 animal prices could go up. Honestly, if I had her babies, I would probably sell them for more, because they're worth more. And if somebody doesn't want to buy them, that's fine. But it's getting hard to find the base morphs now, so don't dismiss your base morphs. The 4th one is buying impulsively. So this is a huge beginner mistake that I see all the time. Almost every beginner has made it. I've made it. Most of the people I know have made it. But basically, you are buying things because it's, oh, that's a good deal. Or you walk into a pet store and you see a beautiful animal and you buy it. So buying things impulsively without the end goal in mind. Now, this applies more to the business side of things, and if you're trying to make this more than a hobby. If this is just a hobby and these are some pets, by all means, go buy that animal in the pet store if you like it. But keep in mind that there's limited space. These are animals, they live for a long time. Most people wouldn't just go buy it, well, I was going to say wouldn't go buy a dog impulsively, but a lot of people do buy dogs impulsively. But most people wouldn't, just buy some of these things and go buy a car impulsively. You would typically do your research, understand what you want, find what fits in your budget, and then go for it. The same thing with animals and with snakes is you need to understand what you're buying. Now, this also goes into the investment and breeding potential. If you're somebody who wants to breed, an impulsive buy is usually a terrible move because everything needs to fit perfectly. And it's easy to just say, whatever, I'll figure it out later, until you're 4 years down the line and you realize you have so many males and not enough females, or you have males and females that are not compatible. And that's where you kind of run into issues. So that's more of that buying impulsive comment, is that you need to, if you're going to take this as a business and if you're going to grow this as a hobby, you need to really consider what you're buying from your first purchase and not just kind of splurge on whatever catches your attention at that point in time, getting that instant satisfaction. You need to think out the process. The fifth one is spending above your means. I see this often, and this is a huge problem, not just with reptiles, but with people in general, is we are buying and spending more than we can realistically afford. Putting yourself in a bad spot where, great, you bought an animal, but now the cage is subpar. If you bought the animal and you can't feed it. So I'd like to think that that doesn't happen. I'm sure it happens, but I think that's a big one, is buying above your means, and also the way people buy. Now, there is nothing wrong with the payment plan, especially on a more expensive animal. But I can tell you, if somebody wants to buy a $4,000 animal of mine, and they come at me with a full cash offer, hey, if you will take $4,000 cash today, or $4,000, I will send it over to you as soon as I see a response back, but I need it for this price. I am going to be much more inclined than if you tell me, hey, I love this animal, but I need to do a payment plan and I'm going to pay you $200 a week. Because it's more work on my end. So I don't need to be your bank. A payment plan, in my opinion, is you need to learn how to be responsible with your money, especially if you're being a breeder. And this isn't a lesson. I'm not trying to talk on people. I've done payment plans too. But something that I've learned is the power of cash in hand. And when you have cash in hand, you have the power. Not all of it. Obviously, someone comes to me and says, hey, I'll give you $2,000 for your $4,000 animal, but you have to say yes now. I'm not going to do that. But, if somebody's giving a reasonable offer and they make it quick and simple and the deal's done, then, yeah, I'm more inclined to work on the price for that person than somebody who is kind of coming and they need to do a 60-day or a 90-day payment plan. There's no reason why you can't just take that $200 a week or whatever it is, put it in your bank account, put it in your drawer, and then come at me with the full cash offer. Obviously, there's more intricacies to this. There's situational differences, but if it's because you can't save money, that is kind of business 101, especially with reptile breeding. You need to learn how to do that. You need to learn how to resist spending that money, because when you are getting into breeding reptiles and turning this into a business, payment plans are only so good. So that's kind of like a fifth tip number, or tip number 5 of 6. And the last and most important comment that I have here that I see people doing all the time, or most important mistake, is buying to be accepted. So this surprisingly is something that happens so much within the reptile community, and I'm sure within so many other hobby communities in general, is people think, if I buy this animal, I'm going to be the shit. I'm going to be awesome. When in reality, nobody cares. It's your animal. I'm sure you'll get some likes and you'll get a lot of people saying, good job, bro, or this or whatever. And you're going to get a lot of attention. But if you're buying way above your means just to be accepted in a community, that is the wrong way. That is the way that's kind of short-term thinking. You should be buying things, learning, get accepted in ways that are more based on what you're doing and your actions, as opposed to what you have and the money you spent. So that is kind of my 6 reptile buying mistakes. For the giveaway this week, I have I'm going to do a t-shirt again, because I just looked and I think I have small, medium, large, but I might have a small, medium, extra large. I may have some other stuff in there. So drop me a comment that you think would be a great video topic for the next video topic, because that is actually how I picked this one. My next video is going to be or should I say, that's how I picked this winner, is I'm going to pick the person who gave me that comment, and I'm gonna do that video. So if you have a good video, remember, I will not reach out to you, so do not respond to the bot comments. I'm not gonna kind of troll my comments like I usually do and start deleting them. There's gonna be a whole lot of bot comments in there, and they're gonna try to get your information. I will not ask for it. You need to reach out to me when I announce the winner in this video. So in this video, drop a comment that gives me what you think would be a great video topic. Give me your first name, last initial, city and state that you live in, and I will announce it in probably not this next upcoming week, but the following week. So there'll be a 2-week gap because I need to give everybody a week to comment, then I'll pick it, and then it'll give me a week to put out the video. So with all that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please remember to give it the thumbs up, share it, and if you're interested, check out the Patreon. All the links are in the description below. I think it's www.patreon.com/Jason's Exotic Reptiles. I'm starting to evolve it and figure out what Patreon really is and what I can do. It's going to be less of the exclusive content. Certainly there's going to be some of that there, but more focused on the community chats, the one-on-ones, people who really want to learn how to breed, how to do things. That's where those one-on-ones, basically we sit down for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever you want based on the tier you select, or just in that community chat once a month, and then we can really kind of get all your questions out. It's like you're talking right to me. We do it in a Zoom call. It's really cool. So with all that said, I appreciate you guys watching, subscribing. Until next week, keep it moving.